What's up, guys? Welcome to your 40-second Android tutorial for the new boss, and again with me, Travis. What we're going to do in this tutorial is basically break through or talk through our application for the most part, get you guys a little more comfortable with what we're doing, and also fix one of the errors that we're having. So basically one of the errors that we're having is if we try and set the wallpaper right when our application starts, it's going to give us an error and crash our program. So what we're going to do to fix that is basically set our bitmap up to equal something at the beginning before application starts. So there, if they actually hit the set wall, it's just going to set it to our default icon that shows in our image view. But quickly, let's just break through or talk through. Why do I keep saying breakthrough? We're going to talk through our application, get you guys again hopefully familiar with what we're doing. What we're doing is setting the content view, set up some variables so we can use it within different methods. And then we're using this initialize method that just kind of sets all of our references and sets our on-click listeners for our two buttons. Once one of those buttons are pressed, it's going to go to this on-click method. It's going to determine which button was pressed by the switching case. It's going to get the ID of the button that was pressed. If his button set wall, it'll do this. If his button set picture or take picture, it'll do this method within this case. Now if it is the set picture or take picture button or image view button, it's going to start a new intent. Again, the intent action name of the camera application that comes with your phone, and then it's going to start that activity for a result, giving some data back. And then once we get done using that activity, our camera activity, it's going to come back, give us some data through this on activity result method. Just give us some stuff that we can work with. We're going to check if it worked, if it's successful, if we got a picture, we got some data back for the most part by using this result code, which is our second parameter that gets passed in. If that's okay, we're going to get the bundle or get the extras from that activity, and then we're going to set up a bitmap based on that activity. Then we're going to set the image view based off of our bitmap. So it's kind of confusing, especially like you're like, okay, I don't really understand these two lines for sure. That's okay, guys, for the most part right now. Don't worry too much about that. Again, we're just kind of learning Java and some of the methods and some of the stuff that we can do with Android. So what we're going to do to fix our first error, this bitmap error that we're getting if we try to set the wallpaper right as our application starts, basically our bitmap is not set to anything. So that's what it's referencing when we say set wallpaper. It's going to say set the wallpaper to basically our bitmap right here. So what we need to do is define this bitmap at the beginning, and how we're going to do that is we're going to define it a different way than we did right here. You're like, dang it, man, I don't what are you doing? I don't even understand this. I'm sorry, guys, but you will in time, trust me, I promise you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it a different way, setting up the bitmap by InputStream, and we're going to set it up that way. Now it's basically kind of confusing, but for the most part, the InputStream is going to get us some input from our our resource folder, our drawable folder here, and just basically set it to the default image. We're going to set it to the icon for the most part. So we're going to set up our bitmap within the onCreate method after everything gets initialized or variables get set up. So we're going to say bitmap, or actually let's do it this way. We're going to say InputStream, and we're going to say is for InputStream equals, how's that blue? I'm going to import that, and we're going to set this equal to something, a method called getResources, because again our image or our icon PNG is within our resource folder. So we're going to say getResources, and that's just going to be a method that kind of relates to our resources for the most part. Again, it's a method, so it has parentheses, and we're going to say dot, we're going to say open raw resources. You guys are probably thinking it's referring to this raw folder. For the most part, it's not. Just still think of that as accessing our resource folder. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to say whatever image we want to set up, r.drawable dot, and then we can pick an image that we want basically to set as the background if the person doesn't take the picture and just use that set button, set wallpaper. So we're going to set their background as the icon, which is pretty lame. That'll teach them not to take a picture and set their background that way. So basically we set up an input stream, and now we need to decode this input stream as we set up our bitmap. So we're going to say bitmap basically our bitmap variable, and we're going to set it equal to basically this input stream. But we have to decode an input stream for the most part. I know this is kind of confusing as well, but just to get our application working, and we'll get into more detail as well as we go through the series. Promise you guys. And we're going to refer to the class BitmapFactory. We need to import this class. It's not allowing us to do so yet. So we just hit BitmapFactory, decode stream, or decode, what is it? Input stream? No, decode stream, I believe. And then there we go. Again, import the BitmapFactory for the most part. You guys will probably have to do that. I might have done that already when I was just messing around, make sure this works. And now what we're going to do is we're going to decode the stream, basically our input stream that we're set up here called IS. So that's going to basically set up our bitmap to equal something in our resources. And how we do that is the BitmapFactory.decode a stream, and then we throw in whatever stream we want it to decode, which is getting our resources. For the most part, that's what these two things will do. And this is our actual bitmap that we want to decode for the most part. So hopefully that kind of makes sense, guys. I'll get rid of one of our errors, and then in the next tutorial we'll get rid of the other error as our emulator turns on its side. So I know it's kind of confusing, guys. Please stick with the series, and I will catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one.